Welcome to another plot lines and lip lines. I just finished filming the video, and unlike the last video that got me so stressed, I had a stress rash. I just get blotchy when I'm stressed or excited, and it has happened again, but we're just embracing all our unique qualities. I get blotchy when I'm passionate or stressed, and it happened again as I was talking about this book. So I just finished this book. It is a 5-star book for me. It gave me feelings. The main character, male Gideon, gave me feelings of Rizan and what he had to go through. But it also took me on an emotional roller coaster like this series. It's like matching up these two books. It is a fantasy book. The world building is not intimidating, and you guys need to just stop and listen and then go read it. Let's get started. This book has been like such a shocker. So when I started listening to this book, I realized that, let me try to cover my Rudolph nose because I'm a little broken out. I realized that if I were to pick up this book, I don't know if I would have continued reading it. It's really bizarre. It's like I can listen to audiobooks that are not necessarily the same type of books that I would like sit down and read. And that just proves to me that I'm so happy that I bounce between both audio and normal books. And also that I try so hard, if there's a book I'm reading and I'm not like vibing with it at the start, I really try not to DNF it, because sometimes it takes longer, especially for fantasy books, like submerging you into the world and the world building, to get you into that world and get involved in it. The book that I'm talking about is Heartless Hunter. In full disclosure, right now I should not be making this video because I have been waiting weeks and weeks and weeks to finish my latest release that's coming out, so I can start a new book that I have in my head and it's just like echoing and it wants to get out on paper. But I would be feeling ill if I did not give you guys this book review. That's how amazing this book is. So, and also I do have some new makeup products because it is the Sephora sale right now. And I am guilty as charged. I've been back into my local Sephora quite a few times, an embarrassingly amount of times, because it's like you see a sale and there's all these things going on in the world that are telling us prices are going up, and I'm feeling like, you know what? It's my girl math excuse to go back into Sephora and stock up on some items now before the prices go up. I know it's bad, but maybe it's good in the long run if I save a little money. I will bring you, I will talk about some of the newer products. But first of all, this book, I knew it was a fantasy book going into it. And you know, the description, I have it on my screen. It says, you know, a steamy game of cat and mouse between a witch and witch hunter, enemies to lovers, yada yada. I was like, okay, I can definitely go down this ride. And like most fantasy books, I feel like it started out pretty good. It's like you kind of have to go a little slower when you go into fantasy books because you need to let the reader know what the world is like. But right away, I wouldn't say this book started out too slow. For a fantasy book, it wasn't too drawn out. Like right away, I was in the world. I was understanding what was happening. But for some reason, and I don't know why, I just thought, you know what, if I was reading this book, maybe at the start of it, I wouldn't have enjoyed it as much. There's something about fantasy books that I really love listening to the audio, because if you're a visual person like me, I can kind of just paint the whole picture in my head. And yeah, I don't know why. I just love to listen to fantasy books on audio. So I started listening to this book, and the more I listened to it, I would say like the first like 30%, I thought, okay, this is a 4-star book. Maybe it was verging on the lower 4-star, and that was not anything to do with the writing. I mean, 4-star is great. I just thought, you know, I was waiting for those plot punches to come and raise it up a notch. And boy, did they raise it up a notch. Everything about this book, first of all, I think a really good sign of a good book is when the reader is finally thinking, okay, I think this is how it's gonna end. And the plot twists at the end, it took a knife and it gutted me, and then it twisted that knife. You guys, the ending of this book reminded me of this book series, because when this book had ended, I was in such an emotional disarray. I remember driving in my car and my throat felt like thick with emotion, and I felt like I could cry after I read this book. Now, the Heartless Hunter didn't get me that gutted, because I feel like this type of book, I don't know, it just touched me even more. But if you want to be in like that emotional state of like, oh my gosh, this was such an amazing plot twist, then you need to read Heartless. It just like, I was not expecting things to happen as they did happen. Should I tell you what I thought was gonna happen? I don't think it's going to spoil it. So basically you have your main character, Rune. She's best friends with Alex, and Alex's brother is Gideon, and Gideon is the witch hunter. And the world that they're in is where the witch queens were toppled and they were thrown out of power, and now all the witches are in hiding because they're being hunted down. So you're probably questioning, well, if Gideon is a witch hunter and Alex is his brother and Alex is Rune's best friend, that's already such an interesting dynamic that captures the viewer. And this is not a spoiler, because it's like, I feel like if you tell a little bit from the early chapters, it's not really a spoiler. I have to give you guys something to cook with, a little salt to season it. So Alex is helping Rune, and Rune is working as this vigilante to help release the witches that were captured by Gideon. So you kind of like, the dynamic right away was set up great, because you kind of have like brother against brother, but they're not really against each other because they love each other. And then the relationships between her and the brothers, it gets so good. It gets so good that I'm not even showing you guys what I'm putting on. This is just like a basic little Chanel eyeshadow palette, and I just, one of the makeup products I got was an eyeshadow pen, but I also got some lipstick that's a little bit bolder, so I need to do like more of a neutral eye so I don't look like I'm going into like a 80s disco. So I just want to do something a little neutral. While we're talking about the makeup, I got this Makeup Forever. This is not a new product. They've had these. I've used their eyeliner, but I've never used the bigger stick. It's just like this beautiful mossy green, and as you can probably notice, it's one of my favorite colors. I painted my opposite. I'm wearing it, and I'm low-key but high-key obsessed with it. So I just want to add, I don't know, a touch of it somehow, just to feel like I'm representing my favorite color. I actually thought, let me try to do like a pink to green eyeliner. I'll try to explain. I use Victoria Beckham's Eye Kajal liners. These, I'm also low-key but high-key obsessed with them. They're really, really good. And if you're the type of person who's not good at lining your eyes, or, you know, things get a little scary like the hair sometimes, these are really user-friendly. They're so creamy that they give you time to play with it, to fix it. Let me try to weave myself back into Heartless Hunter book. So I mentioned that the relationships between Rune and the brothers, they really start to merge, and the waters get really, really murky. And I'm not going to tell you how murky they get, but Gideon is our witch hunter, and basically a really powerful witch has been captured, and Rune, she's the vigilante. She wants to try to free her. Alex has been helping her free witches, but it's getting to the point where it's getting so dangerous, you know, that this path has to end, and it's only going to end in one way, and that's Rune being captured. So there's the pressure of being captured. There's the pressure of the guilt of her, where Alex wants her to flee away with him, but she feels like she has this mission to try to save as many of her sisters as she can. So there's so many conflicts and power struggles for the characters that I think that made the plot and everything flow really fast for me. And when things between Rune and Gideon started getting spicy in such a beautiful way, this is not like a, I don't want to say vulgar because that just sounds ridiculous. It's not like an in-your-face like steamy romance, which I feel like when you tell people you read saucy romances, they think there's like vulgar things in it. I feel like this was like beautifully written. If you're scared to get into fantasy books and fantasy books that do have a romance in it, I think this is such a great entry book because you're in a fantasy world, but it's not overwhelming. You also have spice, but it's so like delicately woven and spun that it's almost like a old like Jane Austen novel with a little bit more like Cholula on top. Yes, I like Cholula as a spice, so you guys know. It's just like, it's really beautiful. There was nothing about it that, you know, sometimes you're reading romance books and it's like, oh, it's another chapter with spice. Okay, okay, okay. I never lost the plot, and as a matter of fact, anytime the characters were together romantically, it was only there to aid the plot, to add the tension between all the conflicts going on. I'm gonna pause before I tell you about my final feelings on how it ended. And I feel like this is a little tip for anyone who has tired eyes. My eyes are tired because I have a 3-year-old, but I like to take like a neutral color like this brown, like something that's neutral but not too dark, like a good transition shade, and I kind of just drag it lower than you'd expect under the eye, and I feel like creating more of a shadow there, it kind of takes away from the shadow of your dark circles. So it's almost like a smoky eye, but it's such neutral of a color that it's like very daytime worthy and wearable. And I feel like maybe it's mental. I feel like it just helps take the focus up a little bit and off my puffy tired eyes. One makeup thing that is as exciting as this book was. I know it's hard to believe, but these lipsticks. They're not necessarily new from Makeup by Mario. And by the way, I am, as much as I am book obsessed, I am lipstick obsessed. It is a problem and it's well known. I love a lipstick, and there's something about like the easiest thing that I can do just to kind of like pick me up is just to swipe on a lipstick or swatch them on my hands or just play with the colors, and it just makes me feel happy. So there is a beauty blogger that I love to watch, and she usually recommends the Makeup by Mario lipsticks, but of course the last thing I need is another lipstick. So I've tried to tell myself that I could buy a lipstick if it's different from any of the colors I have. And you know, there's no definition of how different it is. Yes, this is a beautiful neutral pink. Do I have neutral pinks? Yes, but this one is just a tiny bit different, so that counts. Makeup by Mario has 2 formulas. He has his matte, which is in the white case, and the shine, or the satin they call it, which is in the black. Now, as someone that has drier skin, I love the look of like a matte lipstick, but it's, you know, you're like a sponge, and then no one wants to look like a crusty sponge. So I try to stay away from all matte products, but I couldn't resist and I wanted to try this, and I wore it all day yesterday. And near the end of the day, yes, my lips were feeling like a little dry near where they usually are, but I feel like it's not as drying as any other lipsticks I have. Like, for example, I absolutely love the Bisou Balm by Violette, but it has a velvety lip texture. Stunning. You can, like, it's not an intimidating color. It has a velvety texture, and after a few hours of wearing this, my lips feel very dry and I need to put a balm on top of it. So I did not get that with this, and I'm a little tempted to go back and get the matte in like a red, because the Bisou Balm is famous for like this French girl red lip that's kind of like very subtle and blurred, and I feel like I can achieve that with Makeup by Mario's suede lipsticks, but we will try to hold off. I can't promise you that I will. So sticking with the matte theme, this is Lucia. And like I said, it is just like a gorgeous, like just a nice neutral pink. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm getting blotchy again. I don't know why. This happened in the last video, and I don't know why it's happening. I get blotchy when I'm stressed, but also when I'm excited or just any other emotion. In the last video I made, I was stressed, but I guess I'm so excited about this book and the lipsticks that I'm blotchy. Please tell me if you guys get blotchy like me, because it's the most frustrating thing. And when I was a teenager and in my 20s, it was like such a bone of content because I was so insecure about it. And now that I'm in my 30s, I just honestly don't care. If I can get out of the house with my curly hair tamed and maybe just swipe a lipstick on and getting my 3-year-old in the car without breaking out into a full sweat, I feel accomplished. So I will just embrace the blotch. But yeah, when I was a teenager and in my 20s, this was such an insecurity. I used to put like full coverage foundation on my neck before I went out. And now it's getting blotchier because I'm talking about it. Okay, whatever. This is Lucia. It's just like a beautiful color. And I love that with these suede, that's the thing about mattes. I love that you can kind of blur them out. And it feels really hydrating. So I, so far, really love this formula. As I mentioned, I'm tempted to go back and get the red color because I've been embracing a red lip. That's another thing. I feel like when I was in my 20s, red lips were really scary. But they're not now. There's like just something so fun about it. But also when you wear a red lip, you want to be like, you don't want it to fade all funky. So that's why I usually like to do like a blurring type of formula. But the other formula I got, which is a very similar color, and I almost didn't get it because it was similar, it's Broadway, and it's in the satin. And I just want you guys to watch how pigmented one swipe is. Okay, up and down. It's kind of 2 swipes, but 1. This is so ridiculously pigmented. But I bought this because the blogger I watch, and I'll tag her down below, her name is Sophia, she had mentioned that his lipsticks, you know, they're not transfer proof, but she said they stay on ridiculously long. And I thought, yes, that's what I need, because when I'm out and about with baby girl, I could not be reapplying my lipstick. So I want to put something on and have it last. But since this was in a satin formula, I thought that would be a good idea because it's also nourishing. I will put the satin on now. I have had this is one of his lip liners in Pink Peony. I adore the color. I do not know if I would buy it again because it's not long lasting. And I feel like if a lip liner is not like super long lasting, what's the point of it? But also, it's just such a gorgeous color. And this is not a drying lip liner also. So I feel like if I wanted to like color in most of my lips and put a lip gloss, it would work. But I'm not decided if I will rebuy it. But I think it matches really good with Broadway. And this is another good pink. I feel like this is the perfect spring shade of pink. It's like, gives you a pop of color, but it's not too much. This is also Patrick Ta's She Goes to the Gym. I love his blushes. They can be very intimidating because they are very pigmented. So when I was listening to the rest of Heartless Hunter, I was driving to pick my little girl up from school. I actually started to slow down because I was like, what is happening? What? But there was a major thing that I wanted to mention before I powder. So the things that Gideon went through in this book, this is where all of my ACOTAR fans are going to be rejoicing, but also probably judging me. The things that he went through in this book reminded me of what Rysern went through with Amarantha. I feel like that gives you guys a clue, because Gideon, at a time before he was a witch hunter and before the whole witch regime and royalty was toppled, Gideon was, you know, working in the palace. And that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna go into any more. I'm not gonna give any spoilers. But it's like, you have this part in the book where this character is hunting down the witches, these other people, because they are different, because they have power. And yes, as he's hunting them down, they're, you know, so it makes you feel like you need, like, the author has to give you some huge emotional twist to make you connect and feel sympathy. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is giving me Rysand vibes and everything that he had to endure. So if you are a fan of that, you will absolutely fall in love with Gideon. If you also started, and by the way, look at how old this ACOTAR is. My sister had this for years and I saw it on her bookshelf and I was like, can I take this to put on mine? Because I just love seeing the different covers of it. But If you started ACOTAR and you were like, you know what, this is too much world building for me, it's just, I'm too much, I don't know where I am, I'm like floating in a virtual space that is insane because I cannot connect with that reality, then definitely try this, because like I said, you are immersed into a different world, but it's not overwhelming, and you quickly know things that are happening. Hey you guys, I feel like if I keep talking any more about this book, I'm gonna give something away, and I shan't do that because I will not spoil it for you guys. So let's put a little highlighter on so we can sparkle. I am going to let you go. I hope you guys enjoy these videos because I love talking about makeup and books so much that I got so excited that I'm blotchy again. Lord help me. I really enjoy making them. And if you guys have any questions about any of the products I use or any of the books, if you've read this book and you liked it, please comment below or like the video or whichever you want to do. Just let me know that you are as obsessed with it as I am.